Trust me, it's just the beginning.
Hey guys, OJ Williams here. We are at the world premiere of The Penguin at Max. We're here in New York City. We're talking to all the stars. Stay tuned right here. Some talented people on this show, Reese, Cristin. What did you learn working with the two of them?
I got to dance with Cristin really close, so I got to see close and personal, how not only driven she was, but how she took her own vulnerability to work every day and her strength of character, which is extraordinary. And she opened herself up to some really, really dark stuff. She was amazing as a dance partner.
This season, unpredictable, twisted, and weird, I think. Yeah. My jaw hit the floor. It was incredible. It's incredible up close. It moves. It's so real. Mike Marino is a genius.
What do you get the inspiration from with a crime drama like this?
Well, it's a city that's in despair at the moment, and everybody's trying to gain something, gain power. So I think that's where we fall upon that, is everybody's hungry, everybody's thirsty, can't trust anybody. So it's that sort of feeling. And then also the backdrop of Batman and Gotham, Dark Knight. So yeah.
Yeah, we're a little familiar.
Just
a little bit. With a show where I guess a villain is the lead, how do we root for such a character?
Well, Collin Farrell does an amazing job. Let's just get that out of the way. And I think that's why you root for him. He's just fabulous in this, and you guys are about to see. It kind of goes back to the Scarface. I mean, did you really want to root for Scarface? And we rooted for him. So it's performance driven, but at the same time, you learn about his background, why he's the way he is. It sort of leans into his family, his background, how he was created, how the Penguin comes about, his origins. So you see that about him. So that's why you sort of sympathize on why he's the way he is.
What do you think the audience will take away after they watch the full season and the full story? Like, what do you think the message is?
Oh God, the message is, I think they're going to want another season. That's what the message is going to be. This is a phenomenal show with incredible acting, and I know I'm supposed to say that, but you guys wait till you see it. I literally watch it with my own eyes.
Tell me about how this happened. How did you come to be a part of this wonderful show?
Well, the offer came from one of my favorite producers, and I was told that they are going to do this series about the Penguin, and all of a sudden I was so excited, because with all these films that we have seen about Batman, we never paid thorough attention to the Penguin. We always looked at him as a villain. He appears, and we have heard so many versions, like his parents thrown him in the river, his parents left him on the side of the road, but we really never paid attention to this character. It's for the first time that we get to see how this little human, turned into this giant creature. This actor acts kind of underskin. He does not act it out, he lives the part. And it makes it so easy for, his colleagues.
He's a good team partner.
Very much so. Very much so.
I love that. Oh, so when you got the role, where did you draw your inspiration from? Like, where did you pull from when you were channeling this character? Because I'm sure, we haven't seen her before in a long time, or like we never got to hear from her perspective. So where did you draw from?
Well, I'd seen enough kind of mob movies, mob series, to be able to have a kind of imagination of what is going to happen. But this is what happened with my first film back in Iran when I was 20 years old. I was supposed to play a prostitute, and the agency I was working with wasn't happy, and they're like, how are you going to portray this? And I said, look, there is no difference between me and one. I can imagine that if I am alone, I need food, I need money, I don't have it. And what do I do? What one does if one does not have anybody to help her? She hits the street, right? And it can happen to anybody. So I just imagine that it has happened to me. As of then, this is how I treat my character. Imagine you are it.
An actor. In the show, The Penguin, you are part of the infamous Falcone family. So you going into it, how much did you know about the Falcon family within the DC universe?
I actually did not know much. Just from watching the previous Batman movie, and not. I mean, I watched it like probably 3 or 4 times because I love Batman movies. But I don't. But I'm not. I got lost. I was into the comics. I'm gonna age myself in the 60s, not in the 80s. Like the 80s is when the mob families came in, and so I wasn't into it then. So it was like confusing because I actually asked my son, "Who are these people? Like what? Yeah, who are the Falcones? Who are the Marconi? What's going on here?" He's like, "No, it's like a crime family." And so yeah. Anyway.
Well, yeah, they're a super like notorious crime family. So I can only imagine. Can you tell us a little bit of the antics the crime family's getting up to this season on the Penguin?
Well, the crime families, Oz is trying to like take advantage of both crime families, and the crime families are out for each other, all based on the drug of choice at the time, and who controls it. And it all follows suit from the last Batman movie with Robert Pattinson and John Turturro playing Carmine Falcone, who dies in that movie, and I'm his brother, and I come in and take over the family. And it's so it's just a continuation of that story.
How dirty are we getting this season?
You know,
Give me
this
a little bit.
little something. You know, the gist of the story is this power grab that's happening by our main character, lead, the Penguin, played by Collin Farrell, and you know, as an ancillary support structure to this man's, to this character's sort of story, we get dirty, but I'll be honest, it's very hard to get dirtier than him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Because we only got a glimpse of how dirty he was in the Batman, but like.
Just you wait. Yeah, it's gonna get fun.
Okay.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Tell me what the vibe was on set, because like this is a big project. So
Yeah.
like is that because you work with CGI? I know they made it a very practical, so not so much CGI.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of technology involved in everything that's been done in this project. You know, I think you'll see that renditions of that when you see not only the work that was done by the actors, but the backdrops, the scenery. It's like going to work when you know that something is a little bit above and beyond the more typical type of experience you could have. This has a feel of like super realistic, kind of a little bit more elevated. It's this world. It's DC. It's Matt Reeves. It's all these people. It's Collin. It's Cristin. So it felt different,
Right.
and it was and as it should be. I mean, this is something that's kind of like surreal.
When you got the call, where were you? How excited were you? Did you like, maybe? Or what were the emotions? What did we go through that day?
When I got the call for the job,
Yeah.
I was at my friend's house. We were having lunch, and my manager called me, and they both were on the phone, and they congratulated me, and they told me, "You got it." I had no idea what they're talking about though, because I had auditioned for it like months ago, and I thought that it was just like done. I thought it was. Yeah, and I was like, I forgot about it. So they're like, "Oh, you got it." I was like, "Got what?" Yeah, I was like, "What are you talking about?" And they're like, "Penguin." I was like, "What? Penguin what? Like, what you mean?"
Like a documentary?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, what you mean? Like, so I was very surprised, very shocked. And it took me like a few days to actually like kind of accept the news. I mean, I was kind of just like, what? Yeah.
Kind of a big show, right?
Right, yeah. I was like, Penguin? Like Batman Penguin? Like, so yeah, shocked. But then like when it settled in, I was like, very excited to get to work and to just jump right into it.
When you step on a set this big, is it like, are the nerves kicking in like right away? Because this is like a big ass production. Like, we're like what's okay? Like a lot of like over here.
Yeah, I mean, for me, nerves, they kick in all the time. I feel like I'm always like so nervous. Like even now, but I feel like nerves always tell me that I care about something. You know what I mean? Yeah. So like I invite it. But yeah, like you find moments where something happens, you have interaction, or you start working, something happens in the scene where like you feel settled, but the nerves are still there. It's still kind of it's supporting you now, But yeah, the nerves are there for sure. Always, yeah.
Initially, what made me want to do this was I thought that Collin's character in the movie was like sort of my favorite part of that movie was I was like, what a reinvention, like what a new take on that character. So it was partly that, and it was partly that it sounded so hard to make a TV show with a person that had 3.5 hours of makeup. every day that I was like, okay, let's figure out how to do that.
So the challenge, just by the pure challenge of it all, made you want to do it. What do you think people will take away after they watch the season?
I guess I hope that people like talk about how the show is like in a way that some Batman stories can't be, because Batman is a very rich personage, right? He's like a billionaire. Like this show talks about class in a way that I don't know that you can kind of do inside of the Batman narrative. Right. And you know, like Oz, doesn't come from wealth, and class is really kind of on display a lot during the show, and you know, all of these characters really, except for Cristin Milioti's character, kind of come from, you know, like a blue collar world. Right. And so it's cool. I just liked that because I hadn't really seen that inside of Batman, really, you know.
Yeah, you have.
When you get to do that, you have a lot of fun with like creating the image in your own imagination, because there's no template. So like the peroxide blonde wig was something that I wanted from the start, and I was like really excited to be able to come up with that. And
choices, we love
yeah,
it.
no, really, and so the pressure wasn't so much there to live up to anyone, for me at least, but I'm sure for someone like Cristin, who plays a character who's very much like set in stone in a lot of the writing, like how do you make choices that give it some flavor of your own, is definitely there for some of the other cast members.
Ooh, nervous. What was the first thought?
Yes, yeah, sure. They told me it was a big scene with Collin Farrell, first and foremost, and it was like a 10-page scene. And so, yeah, I read it. I wasn't going to say, but I read it first, and then I was in.
As one would be.
Yeah. This is a high-profile show. Like, it's very hard to say no to this.
Exactly. This is like DC.
Yeah, it's Batman. It's Batman. People are going to watch it, and it's like the first scene of this show. So a lot of eyes are going to be on it, and that's really cool.
Right. How was Collin as a sparring partner for you acting?
He's really bad. No, no, honestly, like he couldn't have been more pleasant to work with. I was so nervous because he is who he is. He's Collin Farrell. Like he's one of the best actors alive right now. He is. I'm sorry, but he is. I'm sorry.
I know.
But yeah. But no, it was a dream working with him, and it was, we shot this scene. It's basically, it's one of the first scenes of this first episode, and it was over the course of 2 days because it was a big scene, and it was just me and him, and I don't think he forgot a line even once. No, and so that was intimidating. I dropped a couple. I was good. I was prepared. Don't get me wrong. Yeah, I'm a professional. But he was really a dream to work with, and he wasn't like in character the whole time. And I know that must be hard because he's doing an accent that's not his own, and that's always tough to do. And you try to stay in character sometimes. But he was just Collin. When they yelled cut, he'd come over and be like, "Yo, let's run lines." Yeah, no, he was great. He was great, and he was also in the prosthetics. He was very hot. So they jacked up the air conditioning, and that was the only downside. It was because it was freezing in the studio, and I was trying my best not to shiver. Yeah,
is a gangster series. You're gonna see a series about a guy who starts in the middle and is desperate to be seen and desperate to be important, and you're gonna watch him fight and claw and scratch to get to the top of that pile. And then those of us who are lucky enough to be in his sort of universe and circle get to partake in that battle.
So describe a little bit of the vibe on set and what was that like and working with the team. I mean, you have a great team behind this with Warner Brothers, Discovery, and of course, Collin Farrell. But like, tell us a little bit about the set and what that was like.
It was kind of amazing, to be really honest. The first episode that we came on, Craig Zobel was directing, and I've been lucky enough to work with Craig before, and Craig demands not the right word. He welcomes truth into the world that you're in. He's really gentle but specific and clear with what you're going to do. So when you showed up on set, you got a real clear understanding about what you saw, by the performances around you, and by what the director was asking you for, how how deep and truthful to go. And it really got deeper and deeper the more we went into it. And I said this to someone earlier. I grew up in New York City. I grew up in Queens. I grew up in like a neighborhood.
Queens in the house.
Oh, you too? Okay, that's what's up, OJ. And so it reminded me of my neighborhood, like of those underbelly elements that kind of ran that area. We got a lot of that in Queens. And so to me, it reminded me of where I grew up. And when I saw that, I was like, oh, this is a superhero like universe, but there's depth and truth into this. And I thought that was a remarkably beautiful element.
Lastly, favorite live action Batman.
I'm gonna say this because my mom is right there, and I made her walk the carpet with me. And her favorite is Michael Keaton, and Michael Keaton is one of my favorite actors to ever walk the planet. I think he's a genius, and I loved his Batman more than anything.
Period. All right, perfect. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
You couldn't recognize him as Collin anyway. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way. So maybe his eyes, and I kept looking at his eyes trying to find him, you know?
So tell me a little bit about your character this season, the arc we're going to go through. Like, give me a little sneak peek.
Sneak peek, Billy Pena is the gang leader of the Low Boys, which is a female gang. And so she rides motorcycles, she shoots shotguns. She's a badass bitch. Yes.
I honestly, like, my favorite part about this job and being a showrunner is getting to be in a room with all these different types of people who are so creative and excellent, and getting to have my hands in all of it.
Which is amazing. And we got a great product, so that's exciting.
Yeah.
What are you excited for most people to see about the show, message-wise?
I mean, I don't know if I'm seeking out a clear message. I think it's a very complicated character at its center, and problematic, sort of. So it really is a character examination, and I hope we surprise people, because I don't know what people are expecting. It's a show called The Penguin, but it's a crime story, and it's a character story at its heart.
So were you at all just a little bit nervous going into this, because this is such a big deal?
Well, no. I mean, not really. I mean, I always have, you know, it's like I did Broadway, you know, and opening night, you're standing in the wings and you're like, but if you didn't feel that, what's the point?
Right. If you didn't feel Broadway, then like, we're
know,
doing something wrong.
That's right. I mean, but I love the scripts. I've worked with Lauren before. The cast, I hadn't actually worked with anyone in the cast before, but I knew their work, and these are great actors. So what do I have to do? I need to create the space where it's safe enough for them to bring their best work. I need to listen. I need to hear. I need to do what I do, which is direct. But you don't direct until after somebody's acted, you know. So it was great. And when they asked me to do it, they sent me episodes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I read them all. And when I got to 4, I read that and I said, okay, I'm doing this. This is mine. I'm doing this, because they were offering me 4 and 5, and and it was a great directorial experience. And I mean, Collin Farrell as Oz, as the Penguin. You can't go wrong. He's brilliant.
It's a lot of talent. I mean,
a lot of talent, right?
You can't mess that one up.
No. I mean, you could probably, but yeah. And Cristin Milioti and Renzi Files.
Love Renzi.
He did such a beautiful job, and the great Deirdre O'Connell. Isn't she just amazing?
She's so beautiful.
Have you? How much have you seen?
I've seen a lot.
You've seen a bunch of the episodes.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I've only seen 1, 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
well,
I got a little bit of
hold on to your hat, baby, because it's only just begun.
Oh shoot.
Oh yeah. It's.
I can only imagine what you've cooked up for us. Lastly, this is a tough one. Favorite live action Batman?
Okay, for long, I can't pick one.
Okay.
But I can. Michael, of course.
Love him.
And then I got a lot. I loved Robert Pattinson's Batman. I loved how Matt Reeves approached it.
I agree.
Quiet, but not we see him evolve. I loved it. I thought Zoe was fantastic in that too. But I found it, and it was really informative. You know, well, obviously there's the connection, but stepping into this world, that film is exemplary and really informative. You know.
Well, I'm sure you'll help guide you on this project.
Yeah, a good jumping off spot.
Yeah, I
you know.
think so. Well, congratulations tonight. I can't wait for everyone to explore what you've been doing.